Good afternoon, dear students of ITE 6102, Computer Programming 1. I am your OLC, Ms. Karen V. Delara, and I would like to welcome you all to another virtual class today. But first, let us recall and review what we have discussed and learned from our previous virtual class. So we have learned the various C++ control statements or structures. C++ conditions are expressions that evaluate a Boolean value, whether true or false. And C++ has the following control or conditional statements. We have if to specify a block of code to be executed if a specified condition is true. Else, to specify a block of code to be executed if the same condition is false. Else if, to specify a new condition to test if the first condition is false. And switch or case to specify many alternative blocks of code to be executed. We've also learned the two keywords or two reserved words under C++. So the break keyword, which can save a lot of execution time because it ignores the execution of all the rest of the code in the switch block. The default keyword is used at the last statement in the switch condition, and it does not need a break. So by the way, the different reserved words in C++ like if, else, switch, case, break, and default are all written in lowercase letters. So why? Because C++ implements case sensitivity. So capital letter and small letters are treated differently. So now let's proceed with our main topic for today, which is the C++ iterative statements. So in computer programming, iterative statements or looping are used to repeat a block of code. So for example, we wanted to show a message 100 times. So instead of writing the print statement 100 times, we can use loop. So loops can execute a block of code as long as a specified condition is reached. And loops are handy because they save time. They also reduces errors and they make code more readable. So a loop is used for executing a block of statements repeatedly until a particular condition is satisfied. Wherein we, in this particular part, the condition, we uses conditional operators like greater than, equal, less than equal, and not equal. So, for example, we would like to display a numbers from 1 to 100, and you want to set the value of variable to 1 and display it to 100 times. So, increasing its value by 1 on each loop iteration. So, we have the three basic types of loops. So, we have the for loop, we have the while loop, and the do while loop. Okay, so first let's discuss what is a C++ for loop. So when you know exactly how many times you want to loop through a block of code, you may use this type of looping. So this is the syntax for the for loop. So we have for, initialization, open parentheses, initialization, condition, increment, and decrement. Then we have the left curly brace to start the displaying of your C++ statements, and the close curly brace or the right curly brace. So initialization here initializes variables and it is executed only once. The condition here, if true, the body of the for loop is executed. If false, the for loop will be terminated. The increment and decrement, which is represented by a double plus symbol and a double minus symbol. So increment and decrement, this is also known as update. which updates the value of initialized variable and again checks the condition. So, so here is the definition of the syntax that we have on the previous slide. So the increment operator or the plus plus sign operator increases one value to a variable, while the decrement operator or the two minus sign is it is used to decrease the value of a variable. Okay, and then next, so we have here a flow of execution for the for loop. So as a program executes, the interpreter always keep track of which statement is about to be executed. So we have here your simple flow chart which describes the logical flow of the for loop. So we have start, initialization, and then we have your condition which is represented by a decision symbol. And every time that you have a condition, you will always evaluate a Boolean expression whether it is true or false. Okay, and then next. So the first step in the flow of execution of the for loop. So in for loop, initialization happens first and only once, which means that the initialization part of for loop only executes once. The second step continue in the for loop is evaluated on each loop iteration. If the condition is true, then the statement inside the for loop body gets executed. Once the condition returns to a false value, the statement in for loop does not execute and the control gets transferred to the next statement in the program after the for loop. So the third step is after every execution of the for loop's body, the increment and decrement part of the for loop executes that updates the loop counter. And the fourth step, after the third step, the control jumps to second step and condition is re-evaluated. The steps from second to fourth repeats until the loop condition returns to false. So I have here an example of a for loop. So we have here an example of the for loop. So example 1. So we have here include IOStream using namespace std int for int main, and then we have the left curly brace for the beginning of your C++ program. So we have for. For is written here in lowercase because it is included in the C++ reserved words or keyword which have a special function in the C++ library. So we have for, open parentheses, int I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I increment, and then close parentheses, another open curly brace, C out I, we have next line or backslash n, and then close curly brace for the end of the your statement, and then return 0, and then another close curly brace. So in this particular part of the program, we uses integer as a data type, which is represented by a whole number. And then we have here a variable I, which is initializes to 0. So now let's try to dissect the program. How does it came up that we have the output 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? So we have I is equal to 0. You replace the value of your I to 0. Okay? Is 0 less than 5? If it is true, or it's true, 0 is printed. Okay? 0 is printed here. And I is increased to 1. Why does it increase to 1? Because we have the operator plus plus here. Next, when the program iterates again, the value of your I will become 1. Okay? Is 1 less than 5? True. And then 1 is printed. And then I again is increased to 2. And then your loop will again iterates. I is equal to 2. Is 2 less than 5? If it is true, so we print the value of the I here and it will be increased to 3. Next, I is equal to 3. Is 3 less than 5? If it is true, then the I is increased to a value of 4 because you add 1 to the value. Next iteration, I is equal to 4. Is 4 less than 5? It's true. So 4 is printed and I is increased to 5. Next, I is equal to 5. Is 5 less than 5? Then it becomes false. So now the program will only execute value that will satisfy the condition I is less than 5. So we have the output 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we uses here a \n to display your value on the next line. Okay, so next. We have statement 1 sets a variable before the loop starts. Integer I is equal to 0. And statement 2 defines the condition for the loop to run. I must be less than 5. So our condition is I less than 5, not I is less than equal to 5. So if the condition is true, the loop will start over again. If it is false, the loop will end. Statement 3 increases a value, I++, each time the code block in the loop has been executed. So again, we have another example here. So we have include IOStream using namespace std int main for open parenthesis integer I is equal to 0, I is less than equal to 10, I is equal to I plus 2. And then open curly brace, cout, we display the value of I on the next line, and then close curly brace, return 0, and then close curly brace. So we have here the output 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So now let's discuss the program one by one. So we have the initial value of your I as an integer is equal to 0. Is 0 less than equal to 10? True. So 0 is printed and then I is added by 2. Okay. So the next value of your variable once it loops is I is equal to 2. Okay. So is 2 less than equal to 10? True. 2 is printed and then I is added by 2, which is 4. So next looping, I is equal to 4. Is 4 less than equal to 10? If it is true, 4 is printed and then I is added by 2, which is 6. I is equal to 6. Is 6 less than equal to 10? True. 6 is printed and then I is added by 2, which is 8. And then I is equal to 8. So the next value of your variable will be equal to 8. Is 8 less than equal to 10? True. 8 is printed and then I is added by 2, which is 10. So the next value of your I is 10. Is 10 less than equal to 10? So yes. So 10 is printed and then I is added by 2, which is 12. Next, I is equal to 12. Is 12 less than equal to 10? So basically, the condition will result to false. and then the program will be terminated. Okay, so next, another example here, we have include IOStream using namespace std, integer main. Then we have here the open curly brace. And then for parentheses, int I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 6, I plus plus. So we have to increment the value of our I. So this statement would be executed repeatedly until the condition I is less than equal to 6 returns to false. So basically, this part of your program is the comment, which are being ignored by the compiler. So this is a multi-line comment. Then we have here cout, value of variable is, variable I is, and then we are going to display the value of your I, and then close curly braces, return 0, and then close curly braces. So we have here I is equal to 1. Is I less than equal to 6? True. Then we have to print string value of variable I is 1. Increase the value of I to 1. And the next iteration, the value of your I will be equal to 2. Is 2 less than equal to 6? If it is true, you print the string value of variable I is 2. And then it will increase the value of I to 1. And then for the next iteration, I is equal to 3. Is 3 less than equal to 6? If it is true, print the value of I is 3. And then increment its value. Next, integer I is equal to 4. Is 4 less than equal to 6? If it is true, print value of variable is 4 and then increment your variable. Next, I is equal to 5. Is 5 less than equal to 6? True. You print the value of variable I is 5. And then you increase another value to your variable. Next is I is equal to 6. Is 6 less than equal to 6? True. Then print the value of variable I is 6. Then you increment again. Then I is equal to 7. Is 7 less than equal to 6? And then false. The result is false. So the program will be terminated. Okay, next. We have here an example of an infinite loop for loop in C++. So in this particular program, we are incrementing the value of I. So it would always satisfy the condition I is greater than equal to 1. The condition would never return to false. That's why it resulted to an infinite loop. So if the condition in a for loop is always true, it runs forever until the memory is full. So we have here a program which resulted to an infinite loop. So a loop is said to be infinite when it executes repeatedly and never stops. So this usually happens by mistake. So when you set the condition in for loop in such a way that it never returns to a false value, it becomes an infinite loop. So we have here include IOStream using namespace std, int main, then open curly brace. For I is equal to 1, is I greater than equal to 1? So that will be 1 is greater than equal to 1. And then we have increment I. And then you print the value of a variable I is then the value of your variable. Okay. So we have here an example of a program using for loop which displays the element of an array. So by the way, what is an array? So an array is a collection of items stored at contiguous memory locations. And elements can be accessed randomly using indices of an array. They are used to store a similar type of elements as in the data type. Must be the same for all the elements. So in this sample program, we have declared and initialized an int or integer array named ARR, and it has 5 items. So we have here include iostream using namespace std, int main, and then we have here an open curly brace. So we have here a data type int or integer which holds a whole number. Then we have here an array name r and then square bracket. So we have elements 21, 9, 56, 99, and 202. We have set the value of variable I to 0 as the array index always starts with 0, which means that your first element of array starts with 0 index. And then for integer I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, and then I increment. Then we are going to display the value of your array here, or Ri, and then value 21, 9, 56, 99, and 202. So the value of your R0 will be equal to 21, R1 is 9, R2 is 56, R3 is 99, and R4 is 202. So that's the 5 items inside your array. Okay, now let's proceed with the C++ while loop. So this is another type of iterative statement. So the while loop loops through a block of code as long as a specified condition is true. So the syntax is we have while condition and then open curly brace, code block to be executed or C++ statements, and then the close curly brace. The condition here uses a relational operator like the for loop. So we can use the greater than equal, less than equal. So how does the while loop works? So in while loop, condition is evaluated first, and if it returns true, then the statement inside the while loop executes. So this happens repeatedly until the condition returns false. So when the condition returns false, the control comes out of loop and jumps to the next statement in the program after the while loop. So we have here a note. The important point to note when using the while loop is that we need to use increment or decrement statement inside while loop. So this is so that the loop variable gets changed on each iteration. So same with the for loop. And at the some point, condition returns to false. So this way, we can end the execution of while loop. Otherwise, the loop would execute indefinitely or would result to an infinite loop. So next, we have here the flow diagram of the while loop. So a while loop evaluates the condition, and then if the condition evaluates to true, the code inside the while loop is executed. And then the condition is evaluated again. So this process continues until the condition is false. When the condition evaluates to false, the loop terminates. So we have here an example of the application of the while loop. Okay, so we have include iostream using namespace std int main int I or integer I is equal to 0, while I or 0 is less than 5, we have to print here the value of your I. Then after printing, we will add another value to your I, and then the program will iterate again. So that's why we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 as your output. So the concept of the while loop is same with the for loop. So you have to satisfy the condition. So if it becomes false, so automatically the program will terminate. So in this condition, we have I is less than 5. So if you have your value of your I as 5, so if you will evaluate the program, 5 is less than 5. So basically, the program will iterate or it will become false. So next, we have another example here. So same with the example of our for loop. So we have include iostream using namespace std int main, and then int I is equal to 1, while I is less than equal to 6, and then we print the value of variable I is, and then we have to increment our value of I. So same with the example previously. So the value of your variable I is 1, and so on and so forth until it satisfies your condition I is less than equal to 6. If the value of your I, 6 plus 1 is 7, so you will evaluate is 7 less than equal to 6. So again, it is false, so the loop will be terminated. So now let's proceed with the infinite while loop. So a while loop that never stops is said to be infinite while loop when we give the condition in such a way so that it never returns false. Then the loop becomes infinite and repeats itself indefinitely. So same with the program. So it runs forever until your memory is full. So we have here an example of an infinite loop. So include iostream using namespace std int main open curly brace. Integer I is equal to 1 while I is less than equal to 6. And then cout or print the value of variable I is, and then we uses here a decrement. So you subtract one value to your variable. So this loop never ends as it is decrementing the value of I, which is 1. So the condition I is less than equal to 6 would never returns to false. Okay. So next, we have here an example of while loop which uses or displays the elements of an array. So include iostream using namespace std int main, and then open curly brace int r, we have integer as your data type, r is your array name, is equal to the value 21, 87, 15, 99, and negative 12. Integer I is equal to 0, while I is less than 5, and then cout, print the value of your r, I. So the array index starts with 0. So the first element of your array has an index 0. And it is represented as r square bracket 0 is equal to 21. Then we have r square bracket 1 is equal to 87. R square bracket 2 is equal to 15. R3 or square bracket 3 is equal to 99, and r square bracket 4 is equal to negative 12. Since your condition is I is less than 5, so we have to satisfy it in order to display the output. So next, we have the last type of looping statement here. So we have the do while loop. So the do while loop is a variant of the while loop. So this loop will execute the code block once before checking if the condition is true. So we have to execute first the statement, and then evaluate the condition. Then it repeat the loop as long as the condition is true. So we have here the syntax do, open curly brace, and then we are going to display a block of code or C++ statements here. And then close curly brace, and then we have here the condition while. So while and then condition. So again, inside the condition, we're going to use some relational operators like greater than equal, less than equal, and not equal. So the body of the loop is executed at first, as seen in our flow diagram of the do-while loop. Then the condition is evaluated. So if the condition evaluates to true, the body of the loop inside the do statement is executed again. So if the condition is evaluated once again, so the condition, while the condition evaluates to true, the body of the loop inside the do statements is executed again. So this process continues until the condition evaluates to a false, and then the loop will stops or it will be terminated. So here, how do while loops works? So first, the statement inside the loop executes, and then condition gets evaluated. If the condition returns true, then the control jumps to the do for further repeated execution of it. So this happens repeatedly until the condition returns to false. And once the condition returns false, control jumps to the next statement in the program after the do while. So we have here an example of how do while executes. So we have include iostream using namespace std, int main, open curly brace, integer I is equal to 0, and then we have do, open curly brace, then we're going to display the statement first. So we display the value of your I, which is 0, as seen in our output. Okay? And then we're going to increment it. So 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. And then 0 is less than 5. And then if it is true, the program will loop again. So same with our examples before. So the next value of your I will be 1, and then you display the value of your 1, then you increment it, and then you evaluate if 1 is less than 5, if it is true, and then the next value of your I will increment until it satisfies your condition, I is less than 5. Okay, so in this example, the loop will always be executed at least once, even if the condition is false, because the code block is executed before the condition is tested. So we display first the code block or your statement here before we test our condition I is less than 5. Okay, so next we have another example of your do while. So include iostream using namespace std, int main, open curly brace, int num is equal to 1. So we use as data type again integer and your identifier num, which initializes to 1. So do cout value of num, so display the value of your variable. So num plus plus increment, while num is less than equal to 6, and then return to 0. So we have here output value of num1, and then it will be incremented, and the value of your variable will be evaluated in the while condition num is less than equal to 6. So we have the output value of num1, value of num2, value of num3, value of num4, value of num5, and value of num6. So next, displaying array elements using the do while. So we have include iostream using namespace std, int main, int r. So again, we use as the data type integer, R as your array name, and then square bracket. Then we have the elements 21, 99, 15, and 109. Int integer I is equal to 0, do cout R I, then we're going to display the value of your I here, and then we're going to use the increment operator while I is less than 4. So in this example, we have an integer array which has 4 elements. So these elements are 21, 99, 15, and 109. And we are going to display the elements using the do while loop. So array index starts with 0, which means that the first element of your array is at index 0. So we have R0, which is equal to 21. Then we have R1, which is equal to 99. R2, which is 15. And R3, which is 109. Okay. So I have prepared here some exercises for the implementation of our iterative statements. Okay, so for exercise number 1, so anybody can answer. So we have print I as long as I is less than 6. So using the while loop. Okay, so we have here a program fragment which is as follows. Integer I is equal to 1, I is less than 6, and then open curly brace C out to display the value of your I. So now, what is missing inside this program fragment? So anybody can answer. What is missing inside this program fragment?
Variable name and increment.
Variable. So where are we going to put the variable name and the increment?
Before the condition, then the increment or decrement value should be placed after the body.
After the body. Okay. So we have here the answer. Okay. So very good. So we have integer I is equal to 1. So in this particular exercise, we did not indicated the while keyword. Okay. So we have to put the while here, and then I is less than 6, and then cout I, and then the I increment is also not specified, so we have to include the I increment here in order for us to print a value of I as long as it is less than 6. Okay, very good. So next, use a for loop to print yes 5 times. So in this program fragment, we have integer I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, and then semicolon, and then close parenthesis, open curly brace, cout, and then blank, and the next line, and then close curly brace. So what is missing inside our program fragment?
Variable
Variable
name,
name, ma'am.
Okay, variable name, and then what else?
And the
increment,
word yes.
decrement,
The word yes, very good. What else?
increment, decrement,
Okay, increment, decrement, very good. What else? What is still
Keyword,
missing? What
keyword
is,
for
okay, very good. The keyword for. Okay, so very good. So we have here for integer I is equal to 0. I is less than 5. I increment, increment. And then we are going to display the value of your string yes 5 times. Okay, so I will share with you a program here. Okay, so I just use a simple compiler for the C++ para medyo hindi siya komplikado. So I uses the Borland C++. You can download it. So basically, this compiler can also be used for the C program and the C++. So I have here an example of a C++ program. So I named it as sample1.cpp. So again, for this compiler, we have a menu. I have here a menu file. Wait lang. Okay, I have here a menu file uh, which consists of new, open, save as, and then quit. I have here run, control F9, and then compile, alt F9. Okay, so this program, I uses the file name sample1.cpp since we are going to generate a program in C++. So the extension name for your program is .cpp. So I have here include IOStream, and then I uses also include stream, and then I have here int main, and then the open curly brace. Then I have here the keyword for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, and I plus plus. So I just copied the program from our slide. And then I will going to display the value of I. Okay, so, and then I have here the \n, and then the close curly brace, and then return 0, and then the close curly brace. So to run the program, I will save it first, and then run it. Okay, so basically, there are two errors inside the program. So we have here a message box at the bottom. So the first error is sample missing, semicolon. So basically, there's no semicolon here after the cout. So again, all statements in C++ should be terminated by semicolon. But be careful in using your semicolon because there are some syntax that don't need a semicolon. Okay, so save the program again, and then let's run it. Okay, there's no more error. So now let's see the output of your program. So the output of our program is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I have here another program, sample2. Let's proceed with sample2. Okay, then open it. Okay, so I have here sample2, same with the previous program. Then we have your stream and then string int main. For int is equal to 0, I is less than equal to 10, I plus 2. And then we're going to print the value of your I. Okay, so let's save the program and then let's run it. So there's no more error. So let's see the output. Okay, so we have the output 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. But in this particular output, the previous output is also displayed. So we wanted to clear the screen so that a particular output of the current program will run. So maybe we use, we have to declare another include directive here. Let's try include conyo.h. Conyo.h. Okay, so what is conyo.h? So this is another function which can be found in the C++ standard library. So conyo.h stands for console input output header file. So when you use the conyo.h, we will be using CLRSCR. So this is a code which uses to clear the screen. So let's see if this program will work. Check natin. Wala siyang error. So Alt F5. So if you can see the black screen or the output, nawala yung 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but the displayed output is yung current na program na ini-execute natin, which is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so now let's run another program. I think this program is previous pa natin na program. Okay, so ito yung program natin before. So we have include iostream.h, include string.h, integer main, int main, sorry. Then we have int x, which is equal to 100. We initializes the value of your x to 100. Then we have int y, which initializes our value to 500. And then int sum is equal to x plus y, and then see out sum to display the value of your sum. So let's try to change the value of your x to 20, and then change the value of your y to 50. And then let's try to remove the semicolon here, and then the open curly brace here. So let's see if the program will run. Okay, so there are 5 errors. So the first error is declaration syntax error. So next error is we have undefined symbol X. And the next error we have declaration syntax error again. And declaration terminated incorrectly. And then unexpected right curly brace. So again, let's try to debug the program. So what's lacking? So we're going to use or to indicate your open curly brace. And then let's try to put semicolon here. And then that's it. Okay. So our output is Alt F5 is 70. Okay. So let's put clear screen. So again, we will be using include conyo. Okay, very good. .h. And then we're going to include here clear screen, CLR, SCR. Actually, this clear screen is also applicable in C language. So it's the same function. Okay, and then Alt F. So the value is 70. Okay, so let's try other example. So we have set 4. Okay, so we have here sample 4, that's CPP. So include iostream.h, include string.h. I included the directive string.h because most of the program displayed a string of value. So we have int main, and then int time is equal to 22. If time is less than 10, so we're going to display good morning. Else if time is less than 20, we're going to display good day. And then else good evening. So first, let's try to input conyo first so that we will see the output clearly. Conyo.h, and then clear screen here. Okay. So let's see. Save. Then let's run the program. So good evening. Why is it good evening? Because our condition is the initial value of your time is 22. So that's why our program evaluates to the else condition. So if we're going to change the value of your time to maybe 5, so integer time is equal to 5. So let's see the output. So let's run the program. So the output is good morning. Why is it good morning? Because 5 is less than 10. Okay, so let's try to change the value of your time to 10. And then let's see what will be the output of your program. So good day. Why is it good day? Because 10 is less than 20. Okay. So next, let's open our last program. Okay. So this program uses switch. So the previous topic that we have. So again, let's put include conyo. So let's put include conyo dot h, and then int main. Then we have here clear
Clear
screen.
screen.
Okay. CLR and then we have here int day is equal to 8. Then we have here switch, and then open and close parenthesis your expression. So most of the time, whatever we declared here in our variable declaration, we uses it as the expression for your switch. So case 6, see out, today is Saturday, and then break. Case 7, see out, today is Sunday, and then default, see out, looking forward to the weekend. So let's try to run the program. So our output is looking for the weekend. Why is it looking for the weekend? Because we initializes the value of your day to 8, which falls to the default statement. So, but if we try to have a specific value like 7, so what will be our output?
Day is Sunday.
Okay, today is Sunday. Very good. So because it satisfies the second case, which is Sunday. Okay, so basically, those are just some example of how you write your program, how you save your program, then how you run your program. So in order for you to have a new workspace, you just click new or Alt F and then new, and then your program will be and then the new workspace will be displayed. And don't forget to always rename your program, save file as, and then indicate the file name and indicate the file name, and then use the .cpp as your file name extension. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, send me a message through the LMS chat box or email me at kvdalara@amais.edu.ph. So any questions so far? So mga anak, maraming salamat for attending this virtual class. Okay, so see you
Good day,
again.
ma'am. Good day
Good
po.
day. Take care everyone. Stay healthy and
Yes,
stay
ma'am.
safe.